Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Gaz at Fermented World, and today I am making mead. Would you believe it? So my goal was to make one mead each month, or a minimum of one mead each month. I did get a bit carried away a couple of times, for a year. That's the goal, still going. And this time I'm making an Acerglyn using maple syrup and wildflower honey. I'm following the recipe from a book which you can purchase with shed loads of mead recipes. Just literally tells you what you need, the method to do it, and it's as simple as that. And I've chose this because I've got some maple syrup. I like maple syrup. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so right, I'm back. So it says 34.1 centilitres is 12 ounce. Well, I've got 33, so we're just going to make do with that. Because I don't need to open that just to put a couple more in. I thought I'd need two. I thought it was a 50-50 mix, but when I read that, it wasn't. So I'm going to do that. Might try 50-50 mix one time, see how that goes. Right, so let's get on with this. We're going to get the honey in. Yeah, like I say, wildflower honey. I've never tried wildflower honey, to be fair. Organic wildflower honey, actually, by the Soil Association. The Groovy Food Company. And I'm using Mangrove Jack's mead yeast. I just find it really, really cool to use. I just started using it. It was the first one I picked up. I've used others, but I just prefer this one. So that's what I just use, any that you like. It does actually say to use in this recipe to use a certain Lalvin yeast, D47, Lalvin D47, it says to use, but I'm not. Right, so I'm going to speed this bit up because it's adding honey, it takes forever, and yeah, back in a minute. So when people have said that you should heat your honey up first, I've never listened to them, right? Well, I've just heated this one up, which had actually crystallised, and it came out really, really good. And the difference is there's not all that left in the bottom. So from now on, I'm going to heat my honey. Just because it just saves time, makes it that little bit easier. Right, so that's the honey in, so to speak. I just need to swizzle these out with some hot water and get that in. So that's what I'm going to do. Right, so we've got the honey in. Now we're going to add the maple syrup, which shouldn't take as long, really, because it's a bit... God damn it, that's on there. That's really on there. There we go. It's also worth noting that... so good. Your conversion from a US gallon to a UK gallon. A US gallon's 3.8 litres, as where a UK gallon is, if I'm right, about 4.5, I think. It's normally 4.5. I fill this to the 4.5 way, and that's normally what I try and go for in with that. Just going to rinse this out, make sure we get all that, because it's a part of the sugars. Now, with this brown sugar, I'm not quite sure about it. I don't know whether I want to add it or whether I don't want to add it. I do like these little bottles though. Might keep these to put some of this in. Pretty neat. Alright, so that's one of them in there. What I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to go off the beaten track, as I often do. I always just go my own way. I'm going to mix this in. And then I'm going to take a hydrometer reading. I'm going to bring the water level up to the 4.5 and then take a hydrometer reading and see where it's at, because if it's at the point where it's not all that high, yeah, I'll add the sugar. a couple of my first meads, they were really nice, but they were a bit too strong because I let them go dry and then I back sweeten them. And then sometimes what happens when you do that is it ends up fermenting this bloody honey that you've put in again. So to try and get away from that, what I do is I stop them at a certain point, allowing the sweetness to then stay in there. I mean, this is going to have to cool down anyway because it's like 38 degrees, but it will cool once we put some cold water in. Mixing! Pardon me, I think we're good. It's already quite dark actually. I had a little taste of the organic wildflower honey from Mexico. Very peculiar. Now, you know when you buy like honey from the shop and you think, oh yeah, that's some honey on toast. You ain't seen no honey until you've tried some of these honeys I've been using. Next, I'm going to use a eucalyptus honey for something. Not in the next video, but just something. I'm going to find an idea of what I could do with it. Right, so now I'm going to add some cold water. Here's an experiment that I want to try. I want to try tap water versus bottled water. Same honey, same yeast, same amount, same everything. And I want to see whether it tastes different when it's done. I know it's a long haul, it's a long haul experiment, but it just interests me as to say whether tap water is, because tap water's got loads of chlorine and stuff in, fluoride and whatnot. Which some people say don't brew with, but it's all I've got, so pretty much that's that in it. Right, I'll try and beat some air into it now. And then we're going to take a hydrometer reading. Right, so that is the air beaten in. Now, hydrometer. Let's just clear this stuff out of my way because they're going to be sticky. We're going to put this dribble of water that's in there on there for now. It doesn't matter who's emailing me. Go away. You are not important. Whoops. Right. So, let's see what we've got to play with. Looking high. Yeah, looks good. Now maybe the sugar, the brown sugar will add a bit of flavour to it. No, let's have a look where we're at. About 16, I reckon. No, yeah. 1.116. Now, what was the original gravity that it was supposed to start at? I know I've added a different. It's exactly what it's supposed to start on, and I haven't even added the sugar. Let's have a look at the method, see whether he adds it all together at the same time or adds it after. No, Doesn't even say it's added after. It's definitely in with the primary. Do you know what? What the hey? I'm just going to put it in. I mean, it ends quite sweet anyway, so that might be why. Start gravity of 1.116. Final gravity of 1.025. So that's pretty darn sweet, to be fair. But it's going to be so nice. Righto, I'm just going to put it in because, like I say, I did want to follow it. I got the idea from that book, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I need to put that liquid back in. Need to add the sugar. I'm going to stir it in. You've got your Mickey Mouse bowl. Everyone needs a Mickey Mouse bowl. And in goes the brown sugar. It says light brown sugar. No, I don't know what that is. I've got Demerara sugar. That's light enough and it's brown. So now we mix all that in. Might take a minute or two to dissolve that, so I'm going to do some mixing and then I'll be back. Right, so I actually used 1,360 grams of the Wildflower Honey, only one of the maple syrups, and 60 grams of brown sugar. It's all been mixed in now. Now we need to do another hydrometer test because we've added more sugars, which means there's more fermentables, which means the start gravity will be different. Probably won't be much different, but it will be different. What was it before? It was 116. It's now at, get them bubbles off. I think it's at 120 there on the mark. Yeah. Right, so it's at 120 now, which is good. Right, so a closer look at it, it's actually 122 now that it's settled down. It doesn't actually measure over the line, but the space between the gaps is about the same as what 1 point on the hydrometer would be. So we're going to say that 1.122 start gravity. Make a note. OG on the 4th of March 22, 1.122. Okay, now it's going to go into a demijohn, and then we add the yeast. Or shall I add the yeast in now? I'm going to add the yeast now because it's easier to mix, and then I'll put it in the demijohn. Temperature check is 28 degrees. This can be used between 15 and 30 degrees. Yeah, 28, and we're coming down. Between 28 and 26, so we are good. Get that in there. And then mix. also need to put the yeast nutrients in. Forgot about them. Dee 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 dee. One teaspoon per gallon. So if that's half a teaspoon, I need 2 of them. Some people dissolve it in water. I normally do, or used to. Now I don't bother. I just bash it in. Bash it in and mix it up. Bash it in. And it is a little bit under what I'd normally have it at as well, in regards to the size there. This is only 4.4, but I've not used maple syrup before, so I don't know what it's going to do. So I want to leave quite a bit of headroom. I've seen in there some Bowshade Acerglyns. Now that sounds gorgeous. This sounds good as it is, but get some oxygen in there. Mix them nutrients in. Now in this book it says that they add nutrients at different points as well. Now I'd never heard of that. So it says add 1.02 grams of this Firmade O that it uses at a 24-hour point, at a 48-hour point, and a 72-hour point after pitching the yeast. 4 doses to be administered at either the 3/4 sugar break or on day 7. Now normally day 7 is when I check it, but I wouldn't add more nutrients to it. I'd just let it do what it's going to do naturally. Interesting. But I'm not using the same nutrients as them, so I'm assuming it's the same. Yeah, doesn't really go into ammonium sulfate. This is a diammonium sulfate, ammonium sulfate, which I think is what's gives it its nitrogen. Might be wrong. Right. Anyway, we've chatted enough shit and mixed enough mead, so let's get this into the demijohn and let it start fermenting. Happy days. It's got a very murky, dank colour to it, hasn't it? It's quite dark. That must be down to the honey, and well, looking at the honey wasn't even that dark, to be fair, but that is, so could be a mixture of the honey, which I don't have any left of, so I can't compare it now, and the maple syrup, which is nice. Right, so I'm going to speed this up because it's boring. Voila. And there you have it. In not much time, there is another mead on the go. All that's left to do now is add an airlock and the laggy band, because these airlocks are really old. So I've said it before, but these are what my mum used to brew her wine with back in her day. And now they're doing the same thing for me, but I'm just using honey because grapes taste like ass, if you ask me. So yeah, within the next 24 hours, this will start its journey onto better things. A better life as a mead. Like I say, I've left quite a bit of room there. Sometimes I get greedy, but there's really no need.